we get in like to these discussions all the time, whether it's on Twitter, I do it on ESPN all the time. We do it on the podcast, like comparing eras. But even in just your era, from when you came in the NBA, how much harder was it then to score 30 in a game than it is now?
It was so hard to score 30. Back then, I mean, you got two guys in the paint. And it wasn't exotic offenses like we got now, multiple screens. How many?
Eddie and I were talking yesterday, and I was like, "Yo, Katie." We were like, "Katie used to run Rip Hamilton floppy action his rookie year in Seattle. That's all they ran
that
for
was
you."
Everybody. That was the key play, and that seemed like you just were out of this world as an offense if you ran a floppy. But now, you got coaches dedicated to just finding trick pet plays to get you open and get you in space. But back then, it was like you had to kind of create your own space out of nothing, and the mid-range was key because you can't, it wasn't a lot of threes being put up, and the paint was clogged. So scoring 30, man, you had to make tough shots back then. Now it's way easier.
One of the fun things that happened in my career, and I feel like I came in the league probably like 5 or 6 years too soon, is when I first came in the league, if you were a great shooter, like you were shooting spot threes.
Yeah.
You were waiting on a double team in the post or the low man to come over and the swing to the corner. And then all of a sudden people were like, oh, wait a minute, this guy, he shoots 40% from three. He's shooting 3 or 4 a game. If we can get up to 8 a game, like our offensive efficiency goes way up. So the creativeness, and Duncan Robinson is a great example of this, like the sets they used to get him open with Spo. The sets Doc used for me, the sets Brett Brown used for me, like that was fun to me. And you talk about like the exotic offenses, like the counter to the counter to the counter, like these things are in the scouting report. We got to counter for that to get an open three.
Exactly. I mean, having shooters that can run off the screens and shoot the ball quick, that's a supreme skill. And you have to have that if you want to have an exotic offense. Like it's built around guys like that. You see Steph, Clay. You even see, like, we played Ben McLemore last week. This guy had 5 threes in the first half, but all of them was off of pet plays, fades to the corner, double screen on the baseline. He coming off shooting quick. So it's like anybody could get hot on you in the league and beat you. It's like any given Sunday now with the 3-point line and the way they running sets for threes.
To that point, though, sorry, but to that point, while it's hard. It was harder to score back then. It's easier to score now. Some of that is what, as well, to me, is I think the talent pool. I'm not saying that the great players now are better than the great players 20 years ago. I'm saying there's more great players now.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Than there were talent. Than there were 30 years ago.
You look at the centers now. Most of them can shoot threes, take the ball off the dribble, make a bounce pass. Just got some skill for offense. Not a lot of back to the basket bigs or power forwards in our league. So, and that's what really changed the league, to be honest. I think Draymond played a huge part in shifting that with being a 4-man that can guard fives and being able to dribble and play so fast. Kind of took out that traditional big that just like to sit in the paint.
I didn't tell Draymond this because I didn't want to offend him, but when we had him on the podcast, I wanted to tell him this. But I remember there was a moment. I think it was his second year, but it was my first year with the Clippers. And we were playing late in the season. I missed a bunch of games that year with my back injury. And we were playing late in the regular season. And he was in the game in like the second or third quarter. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what does he do? Because back then, like this, like you got to do one thing great. I'm like, what does he do? Like, and I said, I was fucking horribly wrong on this take, but I was like, man, he's the worst rotation player in the league. Like he doesn't do anything great. But it was different back then. The philosophy was like Swiss Army guys, and obviously Draymond became, through experience and obviously his natural intellect, but he became one of the smartest basketball players ever. I didn't know he had that, of course.
I mean, he even would tell you that he came in, he didn't even know how he wanted to play.
What was his identity? Like, what's my identity?
He was playing a 3. He was playing some 4 sometimes, but he was mainly a wing player with Mark Jackson. He was coming into the games to provide a defensive presence on the wing players. He wasn't really playing this Draymond role that he is now. But once he got moved to playing a small ball 4 and 5, then I think that's when the league took off and you've seen way more skill from top to bottom in your lineup.
You look at teams like Toronto, they're just loading up on 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". Hopefully you can guard all of this. And that's like the counter to a guy like you. Like, you know, and then you look at college, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and you guys, they're looking for 6'10", 7-foot guards essentially now.
I mean, that's my theory on where basketball will go in the future. It's going to be nothing but 6'9s up and down the board from point guard to center. And it's just
that French kid, Victor.
Yeah. It's just,
he's like make-believe. But that's what that's like the future of basketball. Is
length, athleticism, skill.
Kevin's talking about himself. Like,
I'm talking about
the future of basketball. The future of basketball is a bunch of me's running around.
Do you feel that though? Like, are you aware of that? You understand that impact?
Look at the Clippers. They just spamming wing players. Look at Toronto, like you said. Everybody just want wing players. That's just
Boston.
I just happen to be a wing player, you know. But like you got guys that can guard 1 through 5 now. I mean, when you got stretch bigs, you can 6'9" guy can guard a stretch big.
How about the short-lived era of the stretch 4? Think about that. There's no such thing as a stretch 4 anymore.
Like the 10 and go high, like those type of guys.
You either got to be a center or you got to be able to handle and guard 1 through 4. Like I'm not going to name names, but like
why not?
Because like most of them are my friends because I play with them in Orlando.
It's easier than that.
We invented the stretch 4. No, but it's
Shout
like
out Rashard.
it's just it's like that. It was like a I don't know 8-year, like 08, 09 to like 17, 18, and all of a sudden it was like, oh no, we could just put Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at 3 and the 4, and we're good. Yeah.